This is another scene set for Perth by night, where yet another newcomer to the city is coming in to introduce himself to the prince. So Matthew Dodger has already received directions on how to get to where the prince is holding court from his ghoul. And when he gets there, he actually finds that it is an occult bookstore in a shopping area across from the Perth University.
Not bad, not bad.
It is in fact called Third Eye Books, which is admittedly one of the more generic occult bookstore names out there, but, you know, there's a reason for that. So, assuming that Matthew heads on up to there, the door is locked, but, very briefly, young woman will glance out and then press a button, little buzzer sounds, and door unlocks.
And with that, Matthew will step in, offer a polite tip of the hat to Stacy, and just say very, very professionally, "Good evening. I would very much like to speak to Prince Harris, please."
Well, once you actually step in, you can actually see that it's, it's obviously a bookstore that normally has a certain layout of tables and chairs. Right now, it's got a bunch of chairs all around the edges of the bookshelves, and there is actually a very long table sitting at with chairs all around it. Sitting at its head in a slightly elevated chair is a man that. Actually, quick question: do you have any aspects? Probably not as your Bruja, but it's one of the disciplines.
Just check that. My memory's not so good. Discipline. Oh, okay. I have celerity plus and presence.
Okay, yeah. So this is just something else you might have been able to see if you had enough aspects. But in any case, I know there's a man sitting there with slightly longer hair than I have and a slightly fuller beard than I have. I had to cut these while I was job searching. But he's just sitting there and is like, I assume you are Mr. Dodger.
You are at your service.
Oh.
We will give him like bow of sorts and kind of tip his hat to you. Thank you for seeing me on such short notice.
Well, after receiving the letter of reference from your Primogen and, to be perfectly honest, understanding your plight very well, I figured when it comes down to it, this is probably the safest place you could get that's a fair distance away from your sire's enemies. Plus, we really do need some more Bruja here in the city. I found that your clan does best when it has numbers.
That may very well be, sir. I'm sort of new to our community, you might say.
Well, I assume you've been taught the basics, such as the the traditions and how you should really never ever breach the masquerade.
That of course was perhaps first and foremost, um, but not so far extending from that. Although in my existence, I I was and still am a fairly decent private detective. So
Oh,
what I lack in vampiric experience, I can perhaps give in other ways.
no, actually, skills like that, uh, you may find yourself, well, once you've polished certain other skills, you may find yourself very quickly becoming someone of note here in the city. We pretty much, no one here has been here for even a year yet. Uh, well, not counting the war. Uh, and actually, of the people who helped fight the war, that's currently myself, the sheriff, the Malkavian Primogen, the Tremere Primogen, and the Scourge are the yeah, we're the only ones who are still here in the city that helped take it from the Anarchs.
Your Highness, I wish to give you full disclosure, of course. Um, Having been here 2 nights prior, or actually, I guess tonight is my second night. Um, I was as of yet unable to get in touch with the bourgeois primogen of this city. I of course mean no offense, but
Oh,
I thought it would be rather prudent to try and find someone of note before they found me.
no, I fully understand that, and well, if Valiente found you and decided to, let's just say that for the most part, it's a good thing that you did come to see me. Um, as far as things such as feeding, there is a rack. Stacy can give you the details on where it is. Uh, as it stands, if you prove yourself to the city of Perth, you may eventually be granted domain. Uh, and as you prove yourself as a worthy member of our society, you may lose your fledgling status. Um, let's see. Yeah, of the two Bruja in town, if you can probably learn a lot from Istvan. Most of it is how to hit things.
Est-
Uh,
Estevan, oh,
Istvan. He's one of the two other Bruja here, and
as a matter of fact, sir, I've tried to put a call into him as well. As I understand it, he was a friend of my sire.
well, then definitely seek him out. Marcus Creel, he is a very intelligent Bruja. He's, well,
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were talking about Estevan.
no, there's Istvan, who is not the Primogen. He is, uh, I'm not even sure if he's hand. There's only two Bruja. I suppose he might hold it by default.
Oh,
Um, then there is Marcus Creel, who is the Primogen, and
oh,
he is, he's very savvy. he's working on improving himself and really has he definitely has his own goals, which is something I can respect. So, but yeah, as far as the rest of them go, let's see here. There's the Scourge is Samuel Valiente. He's of the Nosferatu, and he's a very, very good sniper. The Keeper of Elysium is Rafat Duda. He's also the Tremere Primogen, and a good friend of mine. My Seneschal is Hannibal of Clan Nosferatu. The Sheriff is, and out of character, I keep forgetting his name. 1 second while I look it up.
Out of character, I was referring to PJ. Oh darn, I've forgotten his last name at the moment. PJ.
Yeah, PJ Dillon. That's just fun.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. I'm not crazy then. Okay.
No, no. Well, you might be crazy, but you're not. But at least when it comes to this, you're not delusional.
Okay. Very good.
Anyways, I feel horrible. I keep forgetting the character's name. Oh yeah, Sullivan. Mr. Sullivan is the sheriff. He hails from Clan Toreador. And yeah, those are the major members of the court. At the moment, we don't actually have any harpies, although I believe 2 Primogen have their eyes set on also becoming harpies. It was actually rather entertaining to watch. But yeah, as for the Primogen, as I said, Marcus Creel is your Primogen. Rafat Duda is Primogen of the Tremere. I believe Hannibal is still Primogen of the Nosferatu. Nero is the Toreador Primogen. And I keep forgetting everyone's in character names. Blah. Blah is the Venture I'll apologize to Anthony later. And oh yes, and the Primogen for the Malkavians is crap. I keep forgetting his name too. Ah,
It's okay. It happens to me all the time.
it's like is blah. They're all well, they're mostly good people. And you'll probably run into them over time. We don't currently have an Elysium set up, which is why I'm holding court here for the moment. Once we actually have an Elysium set up, any official occasion such as that, I will move over there. In addition, there's a place that is an informal hangout that is most specifically not Elysium, called the Trench. It was established late during the campaign to take back the city, and that is run by the Lion's Mane, of which Rafat Duda and Valiente and the Venture Primogen are all members.
May I ask a question, Your Highness?
Sure.
Would the Would the lion's mane be an example of a coterie?
Yes. There's at this point, I believe there are two main coteries. One of them is the lion's mane, and I forget the name of the other one. That's the other one. Marcus Creel and Hannibal are members of. There were two other coteries, but one was actually taken over by a rogue Tremere. The other one fell apart to certain internal struggles. Personally, I'm hoping we get a couple more coteries forming. Oh yes, no, there's a third one that just came into town that is a Tremere and two Gangrel. I forget what they call themselves. Oh, yes, we have a Gangrel Primogen as well. He is Victor Creed. So, yeah, that's pretty much most of the people of interest. I assume you're working out where your haven is. The rack is up at insert, place here. Out of character, you can actually see a map for it on the Facebook page.
Oh, I think I actually downloaded it at one point, so
Yeah.
I think I'm okay.
Yeah, so you can find the rack. Actually, about central north part of Perth. Right now, we are actually within the Lion's Mane's domain. This here was originally part of my domain. Well, I was originally a member of the Lion's Mane that, for obvious reasons, left once I became prince.
For the moment, Your Highness, if I may, I will give you my card and
Ah,
the address of the hotel that I'm staying at, as well as my room number. If you have any need of me at all, I do hope that you'll give me a call.
he takes the cards like, well, if I can think of anything that I think your skills will be suited for, I will. Every so often, there may be a general call for people to use their skills in certain pursuits. If you hear about such things, well, I'm still in the process of rewarding everyone from the last set of from the last incident. I'm still waiting for the other shoe to drop on that one. But yeah. One other thing. I would suggest that you avoid Kings Park. It was at one point held by the Lupines, and now it's infested with ghosts. Enough powerful ghosts that they can cause problems for even some of us. So it's probably safer to avoid that area.
Oh my.
There is one elder there's two elders in town, both of which are sorcerers of one kind, stripe or another. One's an elder Tremere, who is going to be assisting us in securing the Elysium. The other is an elder of a bloodline that is gifted in dealing with ghosts, and he has certain interests in Kings Park, which it may not be safe to interrupt unless you know what you're doing.
I will do my utmost, at least for now, to not interfere with anything too delicate.
Oh, something has come to mind that you may find of interest, even just on your own devices, to look into. there was something that was built in the 70s that may have been influenced by the Anarchs, because at the time they held the city.
I see.
So,
Are you looking for the history?
well, I've actually been able to, through my own sources, find a lot of the official history and some of the conspiracy theories surrounding it. But if you're interested in checking it out, the specific thing in general, which according to some conspiracies claims it to be done by the Illuminati, there's the L's in Barrack Street along the Swan River. Specifically the Barrack Square development. If you want to look into that, I would be cautious, but you might be able to find something useful. And if you do, especially if it turns out to be a potential threat that can be dealt with, or even if it's one that we can't deal with but we can avoid, you'll definitely get rewarded for that.
I will see what it is that I can see. It may take some time, as you always want to be kind of soft about these things. But I'll certainly see what I can do for you, Your Highness.
Now, to be perfectly honest, you don't need to call me Your Highness. You can just say Prince.
Oh, sorry, my prince.
But it's not as if I'm actually hereditary nobility. I just rule the city.
Fair enough.
But yeah, you are acknowledged within the city of Perth. In time, I may reward you with domain, or possibly in certain circumstances we've awarded people group feeding rights over an area. If you don't have any domain and you have any skill at setting it up, I'd actually recommend looking into finding some humans who are amenable to having their blood drunk on a regular basis. It can make things much easier.
I will investigate such a concept. I'm still sort of getting used to this whole.
Oh no, I technically remember getting used to it 3 times.
Really? I didn't think that was possible.
I have a very interesting background.
I see. And you can tell that the natural PI in him is naturally curious, but he sort of has enough years under his belt as a human being to know, like, there are just certain things you don't want to ask.
Especially because they might answer and then you'll lose some sleep.
Well, at least not until they know you better. Then you might get away with it. But the prince seems pretty nice, so I don't want to ruin that.
Well, if there's not anything else, I do have another bits of personal upkeep I've got to do tonight, and I'm certain you want to start working on finding a permanent place to stay. Uh, there's some places with really spacious basements in the area worth looking into, if you can afford that.
What I might do, my prince, is, with your permission and perhaps with the aid of my contact in the city, I might try to reopen my private detective business,
Oh,
and I can sort of semi live out of my office, kind of a thing.
no, others have done that before you. I personally would recommend having a separate haven from your office just to be safe. Um, for instance, this is a store I own. I don't sleep here. Uh, but you'll be, but yeah, I think you'll probably have to go through some sort of licensing. I'm not certain what the specific licenses are for a private detective here in Australia.
I would
In fact, I
highly
only know what they were in post-World War One London. And that was just because I had a friend. Um, but there'll probably be some sort of fees. Assuming you still have kept your moral identity up, you'll probably want to tie it to that, at least to start with. Given enough time, you'll probably want to develop another identity. After all, you don't age.
that that is a thing. That certainly is a thing. I I might be able to get away with adding some whitener to my hair, maybe, or something.
That can work, but honestly, it depends on It depends on how you build things up. The more public you are, the more you have to worry about it.
Right.
Um, the circles in which I am well known, um, well, when it comes down to it, among other things, I could be using dye. I do have as Stacy will be able to tell you, I actually have my hair cut to a slightly different length every night so as to simulate hair growth. It's little details like that that tend to trip you up.
I see. With that in mind, my prince, I will not detain you for any longer. I very much do appreciate your very gracious hospitality given the circumstances.
Um, honestly, uh, in my experience, there are many fledglings who would make great neonates. And there are some ancilla who would not even make good neonates. So let's hope you are more the former than the latter.
I shall strive to live up to your expectations. And with that, he will give a polite tip of his hat and excuse himself. And just a brief out of character, could I ask you something off of air just so I can?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
We'll end the scene right here.
okay.